Welcome to This is Henderson, the official podcast of the Henderson Tourist Commission, where we break down all things Henderson happenings, history, and hotspots. This is Abby Dixon.
And this is Ellie Keelan.
And this is Henderson. All right, everybody. So after a brief hiatus, we are back for the This is Henderson podcast. Here's the deal. We have Zeb and Kelsey Hargis, and they are in our top 10 guests for the podcast. We'll say that.
We'll take it.
So we're really excited today because we have Festival 5 in our Songs of Summer series.
That's right.
That, we've been celebrating all of these music festivals in Henderson all summer long, and we wrap it up with Bluegrass in the Park.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
And Bluegrass in the Park is actually the longest running festival.
Year 38.
That's
38.
insane.
Yes.
Really.
It's very cool. And to think that, we have folks that have kind of grown up around this festival and, you're back for another year. It's really awesome. Before we really dig in, can you guys just tell us a little bit about yourselves?
Sure. Kick it, Kelsey.
Well, my name is Kelsey Hargis. I am a Henderson native and serve on the tourism board as well.
That's right.
So
We appreciate your service.
yes, thank you. Pretty involved in Henderson, but I don't know.
So you left a lot
I
out there.
probably did. It gets to be a long list. Gets to be a long list.
And I'm Zeb Hargis. I play in Kings Highway as one of the local bands around here. I play with several other groups as well across the tristate, and work over in Indiana. But come over here and play my music for you. Sorry, didn't he bump that table right there?
We forgive you. So I'll say this, Kings Highway is kind of the house band for Bluegrass in the Park.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And not only do we have one of the musicians, Zeb, here with us today, we have Zeb and Kelsey who are behind the scenes kind of making the festival happen too. So you kind of get, our listeners are very lucky. They're going to hear two different perspectives.
That's right.
And, not only what the festival entails, but also what it takes to make it happen.
Well, let's be clear first, because my mama will be listening. Monica Hargis does the big glue.
She is the queen.
So,
She is the queen.
And
Yes.
Mark Hargis. But we're trying to step in now and get some young blood pumping into the festival a little bit.
Yeah. After
We've always
38
been
years.
involved, but we're officially involved now. So just trying to get some young blood in there and really get some other people, younger blood in to help as well.
Yeah.
To
Got to keep
pushing
it
this
going
festival
another
forward.
38 years.
That's
So
right.
That's a call for volunteers if you're listening.
It is. If you're listening and interested,
Join the cool kids over here.
we would love to have you on the Bluegrass in the Park committee.
We got a call on a Sunday afternoon that a Viking cruise was coming to Henderson, kind of at the last minute. Mississippi River levels were crazy, so they needed to come over to the Ohio, and we were, of course, really happy to have them. Zeb and Kelsey actually got to cruise on the Viking Mississippi.
Sure
We
did.
did.
Okay, so that's unique because, we all see the boat at the dock, but very rarely does anyone actually get to experience what it's like for a cruiser. Will y'all just tell us a little bit about that?
You got the call on Sunday. I got the call on Monday about 11. And by Tuesday at 4 o'clock, we were on the boat cruising to Paducah. So that was pretty quick response time, but we made it work and got my mom and dad to go as well because Dad and I played. And so we both had our own rooms. We were on the second to top floor, had our own balcony.
Nice.
The ship was beautiful. It was built in 2022, so it was a brand new boat. But they had a library, they had restaurants, they had a buffet, they had
White
observation
Russians, I
deck.
heard? Lots of white Russians.
Lots of White Russians were the
Yeah.
cocktail
Oh,
of choice.
It was they had a pool in the back of it, stretching the width of the boat.
Wow.
It was a beautiful boat, and being on the river at night, cruising through, it made the Ohio River. I understand why people pay for that cruise from other countries
Really?
to come see that because.
Different
Living
perspective.
here, you might look at the river and say, "Oh, it's
Just the river."
the Ohio River." I'm not getting but on that boat and cruising through and seeing pure countryside that you don't really see often, and then even the towns you come through and the little It was unique for sure. Going through the locks and then waking up in Paducah the next morning, pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
Then they shuttled us all the way back home on a 28 passenger bus, and it was
Yes,
just
they did.
it was
Oh
just
my
us
gosh.
4 on the bus. So
That's the VIP treatment.
it was pretty nice. So dropped me off at the front door.
I will say accommodations, 10 out of 10.
Mhm.
The staff were just, you
I
could
will
tell,
say that.
catering to everyone's
Yeah.
any need that they could possibly have
It's
in
amazing.
the boat.
And
really
we've been on
was
an
just
ocean
beautiful.
cruise before. This I will say that the level of
Service.
hospitality and service on the boat was top notch for sure. I would definitely
Really
do it
cool.
again, especially if you can get a little crew together. Little pricey, but little pricey.
You can exchange your
Yeah. That's
musical
right.
talents.
That's right.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
room and
hoping.
board.
If they keep hiring me when I get on the,
I
when
would
they come
definitely
through,
be willing to make Zeb do to get on the boat.
they'll put me down in the gallows.
Also, with that, I was doing a little recon, if you will, while we were at dinner asking guests. Number one, I was surprised from, gosh, they came from all over.
Mhm.
I mean, Ireland, Scotland, Asia,
Australia.
Australia, you name it. I was like, oh my gosh, I mean, it was
Yeah.
diverse. So I was surprised the amount of foreign guests that were on the boat. And I mean, I just felt warm and fuzzy all over.
They all had
when
great things to
asking,
say about
yes, about
Henderson,
their
especially.
experience and-
Even on a rainy day, they still
Mhm.
had a great time here, and because they were on a totally different trajectory of where the boat was supposed to go compared to because of the levels of the Mississippi, and they couldn't get underneath bridges, and that's why they came to Henderson and turned right back around and went the other way to not even go under any other
Yeah.
bridges for us. But
But
they had
kudos to Henderson,
great
because I
things
think
to
they really rolled out the red
Yes.
carpet. And
in such a
um,
quick time too. So kudos to you and your team as well.
But everyone said, oh, I wish we could have spent another day there. And I thought,
That's amazing. It makes your
Come
heart
on
so
back.
happy when you hear that.
yes,
you know?
for
And
sure.
I think one thing in this role that I wish every Hendersonian had the opportunity to experience is just hearing from our visitors, whether they're from just down the road or from around the globe,
Right.
how much they enjoy spending time here.
Mhm.
And not only do we have great things to do, but we also have great people
Yes.
that really make the experience.
Yeah.
So
That's
it was
true.
really cool to hear kind of some of the things that you heard, the
Yes.
buzz around the cocktail lounge
Yes,
that night.
it was awesome. It
And I
was
think it's a
awesome.
big part that separates Henderson from a lot of towns, because the little small gestures like opening doors when they come into town, for anybody really, I mean, we do that for our own citizens, but when guests, I mean, this is just the hospitality they feel walking in here. We might not feel it as much because we're so accustomed to it.
We're used to it.
Yes.
But when they come, they're like,
Yeah.
wow.
This
what
place is
you know,
special.
It is, yeah.
We wanted these folks to be greeted with kind of the signature sound of our region, and that's of course bluegrass music. So it was really cool. I will say also, bluegrass is versatile. Mark and Zeb threw out some Mariah Carey, "Always Be My Baby," at my request.
Forgot about that.
So I mean, you can do a lot with bluegrass.
That's right.
They had a warm welcome right off the
Mhm.
bat,
Yeah.
and I think that's kind of just the general vibe of bluegrass music. It's
Yeah.
welcoming.
I like to
It's-
convert some songs too to hit other,
Genres.
genres.
Yeah.
A little
that's right.
newgrass, if you
Yeah,
will.
I'll put a little newgrass. in
I
there.
like that. Tell us just right off, like right from the start, what is the history behind Bluegrass in the Park? Where has it been and where are we going?
Well, 38 years ago, it started with Ken Christopher, Bob Parks, a few guys like that, playing with Canoe Creek. Bob Park just had a birthday, I think, yesterday.
He
Actually,
did.
so happy belated birthday, Bob Park. But I think they all started it pretty much. They played with a band called Canoe Creek, which is a local creek running here through town. Great band, but I think Kenny's love for bluegrass got it started. And I could be a little misinformed on some of this because it's 1 year before I was born, but it was started by him. It ran for a lot under his watch for the last 30 years, and then I
Probably,
think
yeah.
Dad took it over. He passed the torch over to my dad, Mark, and about 8 years ago, I would say. But again, I'm
Okay.
could be give or take a year
Yeah.
or two. But they've just been trying to do their best to keep it free the whole 38 years.
It's amazing.
By doing any type of fundraising for one, anything they can do at the events, they've grown that big time, and then bring as many acts that they can catch early. You know, we've had some big acts come through here. Chris Stapleton's been here, you know, when he played with the Steel
Insane.
Drivers.
Yes.
Yeah. He sat right in that park on the river and sang to
Yeah.
us all before.
For free.
For
For
free.
free.
Yep.
Has signed the King's Highway bus.
Billy Strings
Oh my
was
gosh.
there just a few years ago. Billy Strings, so
Yes.
that's
Who's playing with Post Malone now?
Yeah.
I know,
So-
like
Playing with
selling out
Yeah.
shows.
Yep, been right there in that park. You know, Pokey Lafarge. There's been a bunch that are good. We usually catch them right as they're about to hit. So, I mean, Billy went on to the late night circuit a few weeks after he came here and just took off.
Wow.
And same with Chris Stapleton. He wasn't known as Chris Stapleton. He was the Steel Drivers lead singer, and then 2 months later, Chris Stapleton, right?
Yeah.
And we've got some good acts this year too that are coming around. So
That's
a lot
why
of
you need to
Nashville
come
acts.
down. You never know who you're
That's
going to
right.
see before their big
Exactly.
break.
And it's free, so what's your excuse? you know?
Exactly.
I know.
But we do have King's Highway as always is
Of
the
course.
band I'll be playing with for several of them. But I'm also playing with another band called Lovesick Blues.
Ooh,
Mhm.
double
And-
dipping.
That's
Yes.
right. And a double dip in, and we do more. It's not a bluegrass style, but it has all the string instruments. But we do Hank Williams Sr., Cal Smith, you know, old country, and I've got 2 guys from Nashville from that are rock stars, and it's a fun little group too. But those are the 2 that I'm playing with, so King's Highway and Lovesick Blues, and then we've got Fast Track out of Nashville. They're high energy, very good. The Tri-State Ramblers, which is a group of people from the Tri-State local, but they're still declare themselves out of Tennessee. New Blue is from North Carolina. They're a pretty cool band. They're more new grassy style, but they got a girl singer, and they're tough. Out of Nashville.
Okay, wait, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
go ahead.
pause. When you say newgrass,
Mm-hmm.
so if our listeners like maybe aren't super familiar
Okay.
with bluegrass, tell us what that means.
Okay, so bluegrass, traditional bluegrass, right, is what I would consider King's Highway typically. We do mix some newer songs into there, but bluegrass, the old timers, they call it traditional bluegrass, the actual bluegrass, and Bill Monroe would say anything else doesn't have no part of that, right? So they think Bill Monroe, you know, the Flat and Scruggs and Down type bands, and then the generations that grew up with that with their parents or their grandparents have turned it into still playing that style, still playing bluegrass, but either converting cover songs into bluegrass songs or just writing with a new style that's not written by,
I would
you know.
kind of say like Old Crow Medicine Show.
Mhm, that would be
kind
the
of would be
start.
like a new grass
Yeah,
example.
That's-
Yonder Mountain String Band, stuff like that really brought out the new grass style of still using the same instruments, still having the same vibes, but writing lyrics that might be up to the times. Maybe a different style. Maybe their influence from punk rock or something else has leaked
Okay.
into bluegrass, and so they've got a different genre. So Billy Strings is a great example. He's new grass, but he's also traditional because he can play the old stuff
He's versatile.
just as good
Yes.
as any old timer can play, and better, right? But he can also write new things
Right.
and go to the hip hop versions and do stuff like that. So he's you know, crossed different
Yeah.
planes, and that's new grass. Really is just kind of not playing the traditional standards that everybody knows, but using those roots of all that and doing your own thing. You know, and there's a few bands that do all like songs that you will know for sure, that do, you know, possibly covers. It could be rock and roll covers turned into bluegrass. It could be.
I was gonna say there was
That's
one
cool.
last year that all of their songs were actually covers of songs like you would instantly recognize, but they converted everything to have a bluegrass
And it was- yeah,
sound.
they were very
So that
good.
was really cool. So
Yeah.
when my dad came down, you know, he could pick up that, oh gosh, they're playing Def Leppard or
Yeah.
but
That's really
it was,
fun.
you know,
That is
with
cool.
the traditional bluegrass music. So
Yeah.
a different sound, but very cool.
Yep, and we've got a big stage coming this year. We've got a new sound crew coming this year, so
Nice.
everything's going to be
Top-notch.
bigger and better. And yes, we're going to be putting on a show this year, and you'll be able to hear it from 3rd Street and back. So we'll be
That's awesome.
breaking
You know,
some sound
something
ordinances.
that I really
Hope our friends at the city are not
That's
listening.
right.
Yes, but love about bluegrass too is because it requires so many different instrumentals, and they're played differently. It has a very unique sound live. So coming down here and hearing it in the park, I just think is a very cool experience. Regardless of, you know,
Right.
I probably don't listen to bluegrass, you know, on my drive to work in the morning.
Right.
But
You listen to the This is Henderson
Yes,
podcast.
yes, I do. But certainly can appreciate bluegrass music live because it does have such a
Yeah.
unique sound when it's played that way.
And the beauty of that is you can the power could go out on that stage, you know, and as long as you got close enough to us, you could still hear the same thing. Whereas
That's really cool.
any other music, you can't do that.
Yeah.
You know? And there's really not any
It's
other.
untouched.
Yeah,
Yes.
you've got to have some electricity hitting for an electric guitar to be
Right.
heard, you know, and organ and blah blah blah. But
Right.
the bluegrass band can walk in your living room and put the same experience on for you right there in front of you. I like that. That's my favorite part about bluegrass.
So I think, you know, from what you're describing with like the bands that we can expect to experience, I'm picturing this and I feel like it's kind of hard to put into words what that vibe is. But Kelsey, could you paint a picture of if you're vibing out in Audubon Mill Park, what that feels like, what it looks like?
Oh my gosh. Well, number one, I think we have the best venue for bands, hands down, anywhere else. I mean, you have the river over here, you have this beautiful park with some shady trees, and again, a free performance for the community.
That's right.
So just coming out to enjoy. And each of the bands are really so unique. You have, again, anywhere from people like Billy Strings playing to bands that have like full, I don't know, rhinestone cowboy costumes, if you will,
Love it.
which is just super cool, especially when the sun sets and the lights are out.
Yeah.
And, you know, you can just feel the music through the ground, through
Got
the
the
speakers.
restaurants right there. Downtown's got a lot of restaurants to choose from now. Beer gardens. You've got
Sunset
Captain
District.
Court's going to be looking right at the stage, so you better, you know, if you want a good seat right there, it's a good place to eat a little snack. And
Yeah.
but we've got food vendors there too as well that are a bunch of food vendors this year, and
Nice.
we're going to keep you
Just
fed,
a
keep you
wonderful
entertained.
summer vibe. Yes, we have, as always, Tom's Smoking Barbecue, R&L Concessions, Harbor House with their famous homemade ice cream.
Oh,
which
man.
I'm always hitting up that truck. Ice
So
cream
good.
is my favorite. And new this year too, we have Metzger's food truck. So they have a food truck this
Awesome.
year,
Ooh,
and
I'm
yes,
excited about that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Metzger's is a Henderson staple for
That's
sure.
right.
absolutely.
Oldest continuously operating tavern in Kentucky,
I
Yes.
think that's correct.
and now you can get it on wheels right here.
I know,
right.
now on wheels with the oldest running music
Yeah,
festival.
them
so
boys did
Oh
it
my
right,
gosh.
getting the food truck
Yeah.
and bringing
What
it
a
close to us.
very
What a
cool
pairing.
to come together.
That's awesome.
Well, the Folklife is a very interesting piece because there is an educational component of it. And because bluegrass is so traditional, I think the Folklife piece too really highlights some things that people just don't know about anymore.
Yeah.
So really showing off some of like those old crafts.
I think it's,
if you will.
they tie each other in, they complement each other for one, because bluegrass is the root of our nation's music coming here, right? I mean,
Right.
it's one of our few creations here as far as music genres go in the United
Yeah.
States, and it's original. So all those, you know, crafts and things that we had to learn as well coming here as the beginning of the United States, really, you know. So there's a lot of little vendors that teach you, you know, you'd have to give me some examples, but candle making, you know, and
Woodworking,
Wood-
right,
Woodworking.
stuff that
butter churning.
Yes, I was going to say we've had butter
Yep.
churning before,
It's
which
a-
is pretty cool.
it's a great educational experience for adults and kids as well. And there's a lot of different booths. The high wheel bicycle, you know, the big wheel. I love
Yeah,
that
that's
guy.
always fun.
Gives demonstrations, and I think you can even ride one possibly. And
There's a harmonica
I will
workshop.
not
There you
be
go.
right.
No, I won't catch me out there, but a harmonica workshop.
Yep.
So
That's
bring your
cool.
kids.
Art the Dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that, yeah.
Maybe they can learn to play with one of the bands.
Is he helping them build
There
a
you go.
harmonica?
I think he gives away.
Gives away
free.
harmonica. I
Yeah.
think you get a harmonica.
That's really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Starts at 4 o'clock on Friday the 9th, and then the music will start at 10 o'clock and run through 10 o'clock on Saturday. But
Ooh,
I have to mention breakfast in the park
Get
is
your belly
also
full.
taking place on Saturday. Hometown Roots is the caterer, and you can buy a ticket for $12 for adults. I think it's $6 for kids, but all of those proceeds go back to help keeping this festival free.
That's right.
what a deal.
So you can have a wonderful Hometown Roots breakfast and then listen to the music the rest of the day.
That's
So
awesome. And, you know, the festival is free.
It is.
So whenever you're enjoying this Hometown Roots breakfast, shout out to Casey and his team.
Yes, 1000%.
You can consider that as like a donation to the
That's right.
festival.
And you know,
Which
in
is
between each act, we usually have the band that played before come out and do bucket shakes. There's a lot of little things that help keep the festival free.
The popcorn
You know,
truck proceeds.
Change and
Cool.
dollars out of your pockets, and the bucket shakes always help. So I mean,
Every bit adds
if
up.
you got a little loose change in there, throw it in there. We'll give you a couple guitar picks as a souvenir. So we're probably washing
Cool.
even anyway. You know, we're giving you these fancy picks. You're giving us some money, so it's kind of an exchange anyway. you
Yeah.
know? And then the
You won't leave
popcorn
empty.
truck, T-shirt sales, all that fun stuff
Mhm.
goes straight back to the festival, right? And we also couldn't do it without our sponsors too, because that's our big portion of what's really getting us the money. You know, the popcorn can only sell so much, but our sponsors really help keep this going.
I'd love to give them a shout out. This year, our platinum sponsors are Bevan Family Foundation, Owensboro Health, Henderson County Government, Henderson Tourism Commission. Thank you guys.
Yeah.
And Elizabeth and Dick Blum.
Nice.
That's
We
awesome.
appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
Very generous people.
Yes.
And I think those we
Yeah.
are sponsors. Quite generous.
We'll take more generosity too. If you're listening right now, and
Yeah.
we'll take it all the way up
That's
to the
right.
festival, and we'll put it into next year. If it's too, you see us that day, you want to give us.
There
some,
you go.
We'll take
Mhm.
it.
They'll take checks early, guys.
We'll take checks and volunteers.
That's right.
Kelsey's the
Volunteers
treasurer.
as
She
well.
works at the bank. She
Mhm.
can deposit it like on the spot.
Yeah.
That's right.
So
And speaking of volunteers, you know, if you do see anybody with a shirt on and you want to ask about any way to help, whether it's this year or next year, or going forward, or getting on the board, or any of that fun stuff, we'll take anybody and everybody. We would love to get again some young blood into it as well. You know, to kind of learn the festival and become an
Keep it
integral
going.
part of the festival to help us in the future.
Sure, because I mean, at the end of the day, it's not just about the bluegrass music. It's about keeping this, event part of our like summer series that Henderson has, which
That's
has
right.
really become a music destination.
It
and
has.
it's awesome.
all summer long.
Just bring a chair, bring a blanket, and bring your family and experience it. You know, if you
That's right.
it's
We
free,
wanna see you there,
you can turn around and
especially if
leave
you
if you
haven't
don't like
been.
it. Yeah.
This is the year you need to go.
But even just
That's right.
venturing around downtown and hearing music off in the distance, whether it's that, whatever it is, tell your friends and family and get the word out there. So this next weekend we can show, have a good showing and show Henderson what Bluegrass is about,
Yeah.
and all the artisans and vendors
Mm-hmm.
as well, and our local restaurants and
Yeah.
shops and stuff too. So you
Love
have a
it.
good time regardless.
That's right.
All right, you guys, August 9th and 10th, it's coming up. For more information, you can go to bluegrassinthepark.com.
Mhm.
Full schedule of events
Mhm.
there.
Yes.
Yep.
Zeb and Kelsey, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank
Hey,
you.
I've got one more thing too. So on Thursday night, to lead up to Bluegrass in the Park,
yeah.
Love Sick Blues, the band that I'll be playing with on Friday night, will be playing it on deck. And we're just trying to,
Pre-party.
Pre-party.
big pre-party
Yeah.
it on deck. So come down Thursday night, get some food from them, listen to some music. We'll be playing old country and bluegrass and newgrass, you name it. It's a
Sounds
fun
fun.
little show, and we're going to try to get the vibes going early to kick off for Friday.
Mhm.
Nice.
It'll be a good time.
All right, everybody. We'll see you there.
All right.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks.